Good evening, YouTube. This is Marvin with Marvin's Point of View. Today, my video is going to be entitled Five Successful Ways to Have a Great Relationship. Now, I've done my research. I've been to the library. I've been on Google. I've even got information from people. But the 5 fundamental things that makes for a great relationship. All right, first, number 1. A relationship must start out with a healthy amount of respect. In other words, when you engage in a relationship with someone, whether it's a professional relationship or a romantic relationship, both of you should come into the relationship with a healthy amount of respect. For instance, if you want a relationship with a woman and you know her to do questionable things, like if you know this girl tricks and she do things that, is not really woman-like, when you get into a relationship with her, that lack of respect may cause you to look down on her, and that lack of respect will come out eventually. And that will, turn a relationship into a battlefield. Oftentimes when there's no mutual respect in a relationship, the disrespect eventually comes. So as I said, lesson number 1, you have to have a healthy sense of respect for any relationship to work, particularly with a romantic relationship. That goes from women to men. The women have to really respect the man. And in the black community, for the most part, women do. But sometimes some women who have a good job, they tend to not respect the man as much. And they need to start to respect and honor the black man a little more. All right, lesson number 2. You have to be able to empathize with someone. There has to be a sense of empathy. Now, with empathy, it means understanding what the other one's going through. It means understanding what makes them happy. It's knowing where they come from. You have to be able to relate to them and empathize with them, sometimes to keep the arguments down, to make the person feel like you're on their side. So the ability to empathize is very important. And lesson number 3, you have to have healthy communication. Healthy communication means actually listening and then communicating what's really bothering you. In other words, it could be the way they make you feel when they do certain things. You have to be able to communicate that and put that out there. Because if you hold it in, if you don't communicate it, if you hold that anger in, it'll come out the wrong time. For instance, say you got a girlfriend. She goes out. She comes back 2 in the morning. She goes out with a homegirl to come back 2 in the morning. And you don't say too much about it. You hold it in. Then Monday, she gets off work. She comes home an hour and a half later. And because you're mad at Saturday, because you didn't get it off your chest, that residual anger may come out that Monday evening. And you may get mad because of the residual anger and be like, damn, you always coming back late, yo. Your attitude would be very messed up because you didn't communicate. So with communication, it's even good to healthily argue. In other words, as long as you both listen to each other, and long as you can state your opinion and what you're going through and how it makes you feel, it's okay to healthily argue, as long as there's some respect and some mutual feelings behind the other one's feelings. And I can't stress this enough. The 4th lesson is active listening. Now, active listening is more than just listening and waiting till it's your turn to talk. Active listening means listening with an ability to relate and to be able to come up with a solution, or to be able to show them that you empathize with them. It means genuinely listening and coming up with a solution as if you are them. Active listening is very important, and it requires a little patience and a little training. But to actively listen, you want to listen without saying anything. And you want to be able to relate to her. So when you make a solution, you make it in her aspect, through her perception. You make the solution kind of like, as if you were her. Or if you were him. If you got a man and he has problems, ladies out there, listen to him, empathize with him, and try to see things from his point of view. Don't just listen and wait until it's your time to talk. And that goes the same way in a regular relationship. A regular relationship, the same thing. You have to like listen to your partner, listen to your stick man, and be able to give him advice from his point of view. That works in relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships. All right, lesson number 5 is you have to establish and maintain a sense of humor. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times if something makes both of you happy, you have to be able to refer back to that. And if you don't have a sense of humor, you got to create one. Maybe go to a comedy show, watch some, comedy TV shows, and be able to make the other one laugh. And if the other one can make you laugh, that's even better. Because a lot of arguments, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment in relationships, really it could be calmed down with a sense of humor. I remember when me and my wife had a sense of humor. And see, I'm gonna say this. I was married 23 years. So a lot of these things I have done, some of them I haven't. I went everywhere for these lessons. So some of them are new to me. So I'm bringing them to you so you can have a good relationship. Again, these relationship tips are like tried and true. In other words, they've been around a long time and they work for a lot of people. Now, once again, I'm gonna wrap it up. Number 1 lesson. You have to be able to have a healthy amount of respect for the other person. Has to be respect on both parts, or a relationship shouldn't even start. It got to be respect on both ends. Number 2, you have to be able to empathize. You have to be able to empathize to the point where you are looking at them as if you were them. You have to look at them and you have to understand what makes them happy or what makes them upset. You have to know where they're coming from. Number 3, it's healthy communication. That goes for arguments or any feelings you may have that you're not getting or you're lacking something. That goes for like resentments. However something makes you feel, you have to be able to communicate that. Because if you don't, if you store the anger in, a lot of times that residual anger will come out at the wrong time. So it's very important to communicate. Number 4, active listening. That means listening and helping them come out with a solution. Listening with the ability to come out with a solution. So you listen long enough and really see what they're going through and make a solution based on if you were them. All right, number 5 is to establish and maintain a sense of humor. It's not hard to do. You can establish a sense of humor by like figuring out or finding out something about the other person's family or something they went through and be able to bring that up on a funny level. That will get both of you laughing and that will ease the tension. Now, I have a 6th and bonus lesson. This is about sex and relationships between men and women. Relationships with men and women, between men and women, when it's sexual, that's when a lot of problems start. Now, number 1 reasons why sex lives don't really get any better is because there's no communication, and there's no compromise. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a relationship with a man and you're having sexual intercourse with him, and if you're a lady and if you know you like oral sex, but you don't want to tell him because you don't want to be looked at as a freak, then there's ways you can communicate with him so you can start doing that. If a man likes a woman to do it doggy style, he should communicate that with her and tell her. But then again, y'all may know this. Just may go without saying. But for the people who don't know, to have a good, healthy sex life, it really revolves around communication and compromise. And when I mean compromise, it's like if you know you gotta get up and go to work in the morning, and your man want a little something. He want to sleep with you. You don't really have time. You're not in the mood. To compromise, a lady might have to go ahead, use her hand, jerk them off, whatever. Then wash their hands later on, and that and that might, ease the situation. The same thing for a man. If you're tired from work, you gotta get up in the morning, but your wife is frisky. Sometimes you gotta go down there, do a little munching for like 10, 15 minutes. Spit the half the teeth, then go brush the teeth, some Listerine, and keep it moving. Anyway, the last lesson about sex really is communication, compromise, and one other thing, romance. Nothing spices up a sex life like romance. romance mean like not so much flowers and candy, but being able to express how the person feel about you and being able to like do something different, like take them on a nice date, let them know how you really feel, maybe a rose or something special, candlelight dinner, wear something freaky, something different, do something out of the ordinary, something romantic. And that's one of the things that'll help your sex life. My name is Marvin, and this has been 5 ways to have a better relationship. I have another video next week, and I want all y'all to know I appreciate y'all tuning in. And I'm out of here. Thank you so much.